Music video evaluation. Question 2. How effective is the combination of your main product and ancillary texts? As part of my A2 media coursework, I had to create a promotional package for an upcoming band or artist. This consisted of a music video and 2 ancillary products, for which I created an 8-panel digipack and promotional poster. These had to be linked in order to create synergy and establish a clear brand between them. These products had to be horizontally integrated and share the same themes, colours and share a direct link. My project was for acoustic solo artist Tom Hemingway and his original song Everything's Alright in France. This had multiple themes of freedom, development and escapism. These are themes which I had to maintain throughout my 3 promotional products. I had to target a specific subculture, Hebdige 1979, of acoustic audiences, which was created by using genre-linked iconography, Panofsky 1939, such as the appearance of acoustic guitars, and the usage of scenic and natural locations. These were aspects which I kept consistent throughout the entire package. In order to further target the subculture Hebdige 1979, I had to know my audience by creating an imaginary entity, Ianang 1991. This method of forward planning and audience research allowed me to enter a peer-to-peer style relationship, Hartley 1987, with my audience in order to make my product more successful with my chosen target audience, either gender of 14 to 21. This allowed equality between the producer and artist and audience to be created. I will discuss the ways in which I created a brand between my ancillary products and my music video. Firstly, the mise-en-scene between my ancillary products and video were linked. I established that I wanted there to be a clear theme of freedom created throughout my promotional package. I initially established this through my repetition of locations. The exterior of my digipack consisted of 4 images taken in scenic locations, which was built predominantly of green and blue colours which reinforced the natural and free theme which consistently occurred in my product. The images for this digipack were taken in North Yorkshire using a DSLR camera. This location is a tourist site for those who are enthusiastic about paragliding. Although I did not know this before visiting this location, I soon realised I could use this to my advantage by taking images of these paragliders, as they are an ideal connotation of freedom and escapism, which were my predominant themes. Bordwell 1989, any theme may appear in any genre. The exterior of my digipack consisted only of images taken on this trip, as this would maintain the colours used, the brightness of images, and using the same images meant I could have an overspill from one panel to another. Shown on the 2 exterior panels, all images used on the ancillary text were taken in the same location to maintain consistency and continuity. I then maintained the natural theme that occurred throughout my ancillaries in my video by predominantly filming outside and in scenic locations. This also enhanced the summer atmosphere that had initially been created. Next, the lighting and colouring for this package was consistent throughout. I paid particular attention to this throughout the production process, as I intended to maintain my main atmosphere of summer. Although it was impossible to continue the exact colours used in the ancillary text onto the music video, I used certain techniques on both to make the atmosphere the same. For my ancillary text, I boosted the brightness and contrast on all my photos in order to lighten them and remove the wintry feel that was present. I made sure they were all bright enough for detail to be easily recognised by an audience member. I made sure I paid great attention to the numbers and levels I used for the brightness and contrast in both my ancillary texts, as I wanted this to be consistent and create a clear link. Adjusting these levels to be exactly the same meant the branding was recognisable for an individual. Due to both ancillary text being within a print medium, I can construct these in the same way, allowing them to be almost identical. However, creating my music video meant I had to construct this differently. Although the predominant blues, greens and browns that had featured on my poster and digipack were effective and consistent, due to my locations for filming they could not be replicated in my video. This meant I had to maintain the summer atmosphere by boosting the brightness and contrast on all the clips of footage to make the areas look desirable. Escapism and Diversion, Dennis McQuail 1972, and Happy. This would have therefore had an effect on the audience while they watched. Genre Pleasures, Rick Altman 1999. The appearance of the artist on the digipack and poster was limited, meaning there was little chance for him to be seen in costume. Yet the one image he did appear on showed him sat on a high rock in a similar costume to the one he is seen in throughout the video. I established the costume I wanted my artist to appear in very early in, and that I wanted this to be totally basic and representative of the subculture, Dick Hebdige 1979, and subcultural capital, Sarah Thornton 1995. This consists of a red hoodie, blue jeans and a white t-shirt and sneakers, allowing him to appear very basic and relatable for an audience. Continuity errors in video medium products are highly obvious, and I wanted to avoid these at all costs. I therefore requested that my artist was to wear the same costume on each filming occasion. I think this added to the realism and verisimilitude of the product, and enhanced the professional approach that I sought to take. The use of the female performer for this product was appropriate for the amount she was used. I did not include her on the ancillary text, as the digipack's realism relied on it to look like a real album would, and it seems rather unlikely that the performer from one video would appear on an album. This would rather be seen on a single for that song. The same applies for the poster. If I was intended to promote the single Everything's Alright in France, then the appearance of the female performer would have been necessary and added to the branding and continuity. This therefore meant she only appeared in the music video, and I had to keep her appearance consistent throughout the video to connote the artist reminiscing about her at her best. The costume for this performer was a summer-style dress, cardigan and boots. This again made her appeal to an audience due to her being relatable for an audience and seeming realistic. I ensured this costume was consistent throughout the creation of the video. This ensured continuity. Linking the products to recurring images and themes was something I particularly focused on during the production process. I established that the name of the upcoming album was Parachutes. I wanted to anchor this both on both my ancillary text by including images of paragliders. I imported these mini images using Adobe Photoshop CS5 and then amended the opacity to fit these with the use of brightness and colouring. I wanted to include enough to make them look intentional, as adding too few of these would have looked accidental and therefore removed all potential connotations created by these. This meant I had to use a consistent amount throughout the folds of my digipack. I then replicated this on my promotional poster by importing the same images but amending the colour levels to differentiate them from the parachutes used on the digipack. This already created a direct link between the two. Unfortunately, I did not possess the ability to replicate these parachutes on my music video, due to them being still images and me being unable to find a suitable position for them to appear without looking too obvious or false, as this would have ruined the aesthetic of the video. Also, after researching into real media text, I found that it is very rare that the single videos reference the album, as they are usually released individually and at separate times. Much like the parachutes, in order to add another visual element to my product which would bear similar connotations of freedom, I use the concept of bubbles, as this not only reinforced the theme but it added an aspect of innocence and youth. I initially incorporated bubbles into my video, as these were an improvised prop which I thought would add to the aesthetic of my video. I ensured that these throughout so they didn't look random or accidental. I ensured they were a prominent occurrence throughout the duration of the video, and that they were highly related to the female performer to create the link between the bubbles and her, to reinforce the concept of innocence and the theme of moving on and progression. In order to continue to link the bubbles, I went back to my ancillary text, and despite these already gaining a high mark and credit, I knew that for verisimilitude to be maintained across the package, I should have added bubbles onto these. I exported a single frame from the video of the bubble at its most colourful point, and then imported this into my digipack across the 8 panels to maintain consistency. These had to vary in shape and colouring in order to fit with the colour scheme of the panels, as they were predominantly blue, so I had to either tone this down for the outside covers or completely renovate the colouring for the inside covers. I thought it would look neater if I was to have the bubbles around the parachutes that were already present, as this connoted the concept of being lifted up. Yet it could also connote that although these parachutes are free, they are encircled by something which is therefore restraining them, although this was a lesser obvious concept. I also added bubbles onto my promotional poster, as this continued to integrate the products and maintain consistency, leading to a strong brand identity being created. In order to add these, I followed the same process as for my digipack. This then established precise continuity and allowed the products to be recognisable as a cross-platform promotional tool. My ancillary text had to include writing in order to clearly advertise the product. I tried to keep this as minimal as possible so to not disrupt the naturalistic theme that I had established. In order to again maintain the consistency and a strong brand identity, I had to choose a font that was relative to my genre. I chose Acoustic Light, which would vary in colour and size dependent on the context in which it was used. Although this was not a strictly professional font, I thought it added to the light-hearted and playfulness of the acoustic genre, and its simplicity and basic form of the font emphasised the grassroots, folk culture, David Gauntlet 2008 of the genre. I had to ensure I used the same font throughout both my ancillary texts in order to create synergy between them. For the digipack, I used this font, Acoustic Light, for all textual information. As I have mentioned previously, the style of the font really supported the genre and gave the piece a very playful and relaxed feel. I had predominantly chosen a stone grey colour for the text on my ancillary products, as I thought the stone colour emphasised the natural atmosphere created and anchored this. And also the basic grey colour against the blue/neutral background really stood out, and this could be seen by an audience from a distance. I had to amend the opacity on this font on the inside covers, as I did not want the font to look too overpowering and wanted to maintain the calm atmosphere I had previously created. Then on the poster, I used this font for the album name, the reviews, the promotional information such as release dates, and the social marketing media. However, due to the earthy colours used on the lower half of this poster, I had to make the font white in order to make it clearly visible and stand out to an audience. I again turned the opacity down so this could blend more with the background and not look like a separate layer. Instead, this looked more like a single image. I feel like I promoted the product effectively to extend my work into brand identity and synergy. I took time to create a Facebook and Twitter account for my artists in order to directly communicate with an audience about the product. This then meant I could import logos to these social media sites on my promotional poster to enhance the promotional intention and to add to the verisimilitude of the poster. Overall, I feel like the combination of my main product and ancillary text was highly effective, as it truly served its purpose as a promotional package due to the synergy created with the links to social media sites and the continuity and links between the products created due to the visual elements.